So when I say Bihar, what's the first thing that pops into your head? For a lot of people, it's probably a bunch of stereotypes, right? Well, today, we're going to peel all of that back. We're going to dig into the real story, and trust me, it's a surprisingly complex and totally fascinating one about a place that's literally been a cradle of civilization.
So yeah, what is the real story of Bihar? That's the big question. We're going to dive right into the facts, the figures, everything we need to build a much more complete picture, something that goes way beyond the usual headlines.
Okay, so let's start with the most common picture people have of Bihar. You know the one, just a huge, flat, featureless plain. It's a simple image, for sure. But is it even remotely accurate? Well, let's find out. Let's see what the geography actually has to say.
And to really get a handle on Bihar, you have to start at the very beginning, with its name. Because right there, in that one word, is the first big clue to its deep, deep historical identity.
So check this out. The name Bihar doesn't just come from nowhere. It actually comes from the word Vihar, which means a Buddhist monastery. Isn't that cool? The name itself is telling you that this was always a land of scholars, of spiritual seekers. It was a massive, historic hub for knowledge.
But you know, the Bihar you see on a map today, it's actually a pretty recent creation. First, in 1912, it was separated from the huge Bengal presidency. Then, in 1936, Orissa was carved out to become its own province. But the really big change, the game changer, happened in 2000. That's when the whole southern region, the part packed with minerals, was carved off to create the new state of Jharkhand. And as you can imagine, that had massive economic consequences for the Bihar that was left.
Okay, so now let's get back to the land itself. This is where we get to blow up that stereotype we talked about, the one about a flat, boring landscape. Because far from being just one big plain, Bihar is actually made up of three totally different geographical zones. You've got the Shivalik Hill Range up in the north. Those are basically the Himalayan foothills. Then, smack in the middle, you have that famous, fertile Gangetic Plain. And down in the south, a rugged plateau region, three distinct parts.
And this right here just drives the point home perfectly. 880 meters. That's the height of Someshwar Fort, Bihar's highest point. We're talking over 2,800 feet. So that flat state we were talking about? Yeah, not so much. This one number just completely shatters that myth of a featureless plain.
And get this, even the giant plain itself isn't one single thing. The mighty Ganga River slices right through the middle, basically creating two different Bihars. North of the river, you have these powerful Himalayan rivers, which means, you guessed it, a constant threat of floods. But south of the Ganga, it's fed by seasonal rivers from the plateau, which makes it super prone to drought. It's like two completely different worlds, all within the same state. So this incredibly complex geography obviously has a huge impact on the people who live there. And when we start looking at the numbers, wow, they tell a really dramatic story. It's a story of immense pressure, but also so much untapped potential. Let's start with population density. Bihar is packed with 1,106 people for every single square kilometer. That is the highest in all of India. I mean, to put that into perspective, the national average is just 382. So we're talking nearly 3 times more people crammed into the same amount of space. Can you just imagine the pressure that puts on land, on resources, on everything? Now let's look at literacy. According to the 2011 census, the overall rate was 61.8%. At the time, that was the lowest in the country, and that of course points to a major challenge in human development. But it's important to note that this is a number that has been getting better and better ever since.
And here's another number that just jumps out at you. Across India, about 31% of the population lives in cities. In Bihar, that number is just over 11%. Think about that. It means almost 90% of the people in Bihar live in rural areas. They're deeply, deeply connected to the land, to agriculture, to a village-based way of life.
And that deep connection to the land brings us right to Bihar's natural resources. And this is a real story of extremes, a tale of both life-giving bounty and, at times, absolutely destructive burdens.
You've probably heard this phrase before, the sorrow of Bihar. Well, that title, that tragic nickname, belongs to the Kosi River. And here's why. It comes tearing down from the high Himalayas, carrying an insane amount of silt. This silt causes the river to constantly and completely unpredictably change its course.
Imagine a river just deciding to flow somewhere new, bringing catastrophic floods with it. That's the Kosi.
But okay, beyond the floods, Bihar is also sitting on some incredible natural treasures. Let's just run through a few. It's got the Valmiki Tiger Reserve, the state's only one. It's home to half of India's endangered Gangetic River dolphins. It has a total national monopoly on the mineral pyrite. And get this, just recently, India's single largest gold reserve was discovered right there in the Jamui district. Amazing, right?
All right, finally, let's talk about what might just be Bihar's greatest asset of all. We're talking about its unbelievable cultural and historical legacy, a legacy that hasn't just shaped India, but has left its fingerprint on the entire world.
I mean, for starters, the state is home to not one, but two UNESCO World Heritage Sites. You have the Mahabodhi Temple Complex in Bodh Gaya. That is the exact spot where the Buddha is said to have attained enlightenment, a place of global pilgrimage. And then you have the incredible ruins of Nalanda Mahavihara, one of the ancient world's absolute greatest centers of learning. People often call it the world's first real university. Just think about that.
And that legacy is still alive and kicking today. You can see it in its amazing local products. We're talking about things like the world-famous Shahi Lychee, or those beautiful, intricate Madhubani paintings. A lot of these things are GI tagged. You might have seen that label. It just means geographical indication. It's like a stamp of authenticity that says, this is the real deal, from the original place. It's a testament to a culture that is so rich and so very much alive.
So there you have it. Bihar is a land of incredible contrasts, isn't it? A place of ancient wisdom that's grappling with the very modern pressures of population and development. A state that is defined by both the sorrow of its rivers and literally the gold hiding beneath its soil. It's a fascinating puzzle. And the big question that leaves us with is, what will Bihar's next chapter look like?